G'day hobby friends, today I'm bringing to you my latest hardware store find. I was walking through Bunnings the other day and I found these. They are the Handy System Storage Tote size number 10. I grabbed them for the princely sum of $2.85, painted them up, put some bits and bobs and debris inside them, and I think they make a fantastic surrogate skip bin for the future. This one you can stand in, shoot over the rim. This one's got a badly hidden dead body and a few other bits and bobs in it. The obligatory posters, a bit of rusting, a bit of distressing, and I think they've turned out great. So how about you like and subscribe and follow on to see how I did it. Here they are in all their naked glory. Start off by getting together some junk to put into these dumpsters. Afterwards, I grab out sanding block, hobby knife, some scratch brushes, and get to work removing any mold lines or out of scale detail. I also get out the heat gun and give it a little bit of a preheat and a squish with my hands. I wanted to warp the bins a bit, so I don't know about you, but I've never seen a skip bin that was perfectly straight. They tend to get pushed around about by forklifts and backed into by trucks and loading docks, etc. I also use my hobby knife to chip the edges and add a bit more general distressing. The kind of things that you'd see on the edge of a bin where heavy items have been thrown in and it's banged against the side. Next, I start filling the bins up with junk. I hide the body under the corrugated iron, throw in some cobblestones and general debris, and super glue on some gravel and sand. Once done, I then use some baking soda to soak up the copious amount of super glue used and to add some extra texture. Following that, I then glue on some patched up bits of metalwork using styrene from Greenstuff World checker plate pattern and some rhinestone studs to make it look like where the bins have been damaged and quickly repaired. Time for priming. I use the Dulux Duramax clear plastic primer and granite effect all over, followed up by carbon black from liquitex and burnt umber to create like a rusted effect, and the outsides are sprayed with Citadel white scar. For colour, I start off with some liquitex colours, Hooker's green and dioxazine purple, and then work my way up through the range. I go up with bright green from liquitex and some royal purple and then alien purple from Vallejo. Between coats, I pick out some of the internal details of the skip bins, the bits of junk and what have you. As I get progressively lighter, I tend to stick more and more the big wide open exposed flat surfaces, much like how you paint a model and highlight. At its brightest, I just use like a pull down method across the top of the edges, like over brushing, not quite dry brushing, but an over brushing method, just to catch the final few details. For dry brushing, I use a mixture of the bright green and cadmium yellow from Liquitex, and then squidding from Vallejo. I also use Vallejo bright aluminium to highlight all the scuff marks and scrape marks around. To make a simple wash, I use Liquitex carbon black and burnt umber inks and some water. I then splurge this literally all over. As I apply the wash, I add extra fresh water. I tend to find on these big, large, flat surfaces it helps produce tea staining. It also adds more streakiness to the dried effect. I find this helps overcome the pitfalls of using a wash on a big flat surface. Now to do some weathering with my favourite dirty down products. I crack out the rust, splooge it everywhere, then follow up quickly with some yellow rust as a highlight. Once that's done, put a few trickly bits of moss in the bottom corners of the skip bins. Once it's dried, come back in with a wet stiff brush, smooth out where I've gone too heavy and smear out all the tea staining for a nice blend. I then use a heat gun to give it a real kick on drying. For the posters, I simply soak them in a watery mix of Gorilla Glue PVA glue and then apply them with a stiff brush in a stippling motion. I then come back in before they've dried with some streaking grime from Vallejo and then water that off with fresh drips of water and let it run everywhere. This gives a nice streaking effect and hides all the cut lines. Now it's time for a varnish. I use Vallejo's acrylic matte varnish. I found this to be really nice and durable, and I've had zero issues with frosting, even on humid days. And here they are all done. Let me know what you think.